Lego.
Well, this is a very interesting weekend. I think to say the least. But as always, before we get into how interesting the wheel to wheel let's talk a little bit about some fashion, some fashioninos. Listeners, this is not a visual podcast right now, but if you were able to see us, you would be able to see that my two co-hosts appeared very bewildered at being reminded of our normal segment that we always have at the top of the podcast. And so given their bewilderment...
I always forget. Y'all always remember and I always forget.
No, I forgot too. I'm not going to lie, but it's okay. We'll find it. In real time, you'll hear us critiquing them.
Yes, I will go first.
Please do.
My Project Runway, and I'm not saying that this is like the best outfit I've ever seen, I simply love this outfit, is Yuki Tsunoda in this double denim look. I do love a good double denim. I think he looks so cute. It is like this oversized denim jacket and then these like, I'd say like straight leg denim jeans. I think that he could do more, admittedly. I think when you're doing double denim, you could totally do more. I think this was a moment where Yuki could have gone a little bit sluttier. Maybe make it a denim vest.
Yuki is not a slut.
No,
Yuki's not a slut.
He has nice arms. Yuki could have pulled off a vest. And so I think Yuki should have done a vest, but I think even without the vest, this is a cute little fit. It's a cute little look. I don't know the temperatures in Austria. Maybe it's cold out there. I don't know what they get up to over there. So I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Do I love the Hugo Boss? No. But the outfit is still serving. For my what not to wear, I'm actually going to leave the grid. I'm going to leave the grid because I actually didn't see anybody too egregious this week in ways that are like unique. They're egregious in the ways that they are always egregious. I'd like to talk about Mr. Gunther Steiner.
Oh God, what did Gunther wear?
Gunther has a segment called Vanker of the Week on his podcast. And
it's called what now?
Vanka of the Week.
Like wanker?
Because he says like wanker, but in his accent. He also is a guest star on a recurring segment / podcast for the Red Flags podcast. I say all this to say that for some reason
did a segment with Red Flags.
He has like a whole separate show with them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I say all this to say that for some reason this caused Kim Illman to post him. Otherwise I would not have seen this outfit. I think we need to let specifically the way men wear gingham dye.
Say that one more time.
The way that men wear plaid and gingham, I think needs to die.
Oh,
they don't have any fun with it. They don't have any whimsy with it. They just slap it on a 3/4 button up with the sleeves rolled up.
Oh my God.
And I'm tired of it. There are fun ways to do gingham. I love a good gingham plaid print. This is not it. He's really leaning into his North Carolinian residency right now. And I don't think it's a good look on him. I hate it. Me personally.
It looks like, you know those old school couches? That's what it reminds me of. Like a real old school couch.
It does look like an old school couch. I'm not going to lie with you.
You know?
Not going to lie.
But, you know, he tried. He tried. That's all I got. Effort?
Yeah.
Effort was made.
He did something.
Okay.
All right. Which one of you was more on the ball and is ready?
I'm ready.
Bex is ready.
All right.
So for my what not to wear this week, I am actually going to go with Monsieur Esteban Ocon.
What did Esteban wear?
It's nothing horrible, but to me, it looks like pajamas. And the thing that specifically makes it look like pajamas to me, especially on a shirt, is the white trim.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't really do anything for him. It's nothing egregious that he wore. I mean, at least he's making an effort. But I don't like it. And it's one thing that for me stood out. So yeah. I actually like the color. Actually not on him though. But I like the color. But yeah, nothing egregious, nothing horrible. Side note, I actually don't like Yuki's Canadian tuxedo look. For the only reason I don't like it is because the denims don't match.
I don't think denims have to match for
I think they don't have to match, but they have to look close. And as soon as I looked at it, I was like, oh, that his jeans were like this really blue, almost like a Levi type of denim, and his jacket was like this distressed. It had like a
almost
yellow
acid wash.
Yeah, acid wash, and they don't go, and I don't like it. And yeah, that was my only thing. I mean, to be honest, I saw him without the jacket, and his outfit was fine. So anyway, just a little side note, little something to point out. My project runway, I will say no one really did it for me this week. It was not a really spectacular week in fashion. And that includes Mr. Lewis Hamilton. He didn't really wow me this week, which I was kind of a little disappointed. At least like a piece, at least something, conversation starter. He just kind of
everything was very neutral.
Yeah, he just kind of gave, I work here type of vibes. But I will give my project runway to him for his actually no, sorry. So sorry. I forgot. I was not going to give my project runway to him. I was going to give my project runway to Zhou Guanyu. I ended up really liking his outfit. I think out of the most, and it was also one of the ones I felt like he takes a risk. It looked cute. I'm not super in love with the pleats, but it works for him. And I really just like to see Zhou Guanyu just kind of step out and, be in his fashion bag. So I'm going to give it to him.
Well, now that you have stolen my project runway,
you can definitely still use the same project runway. I don't know why that's an issue.
That. It's not an actual issue. I'm just being dramatic. Anyway, but I enjoy this outfit on him. I think he looks really good. I actually do like the pleats. I don't know why. I think it's just something a little different, and so I enjoy that. As far as what not to wear, I am giving it to one Pierre Gasly because he is out here looking like he's like a cameraman. He looks like he's a cameraman or press or something. Tie your shoes. Like, he does not look good in this outfit. I don't like it. He's another one who looks like he's walking across the quad. He's giving very much collegiate. So yeah, he's my what not to wear. I'm done.
That's solid. That's real. I am not always anti-drivers dressing like they're walking across the quad. Yeah. When I know that they could do more. Like, exactly. For example, I've seen Lando wear one outfit I would say could ever qualify for Project Runway. It was like very like Arabic inspired, like tunic vibes. That, a great outfit. To go from that to wearing across the quad fits annoys me. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. And I know Pierre could do better. Pierre could do better.
Exactly.
Come on, Pierre.
Precisely.
Oh, right.
I will say Spanish GP outfits are coming out, and we might have something to talk about next week.
Okay. Silverstone, but that's okay. Silverstone outfits are coming out.
Spanish.
What'd I say?
You said Spanish.
Oh,
but I'm pretty.
My bad.
Yeah. That's okay. No crimes committed yet.
Listen, I'm still learning. Hush.
I can tell. Yeah, it's okay.
You know what? Bite me. Bite me.
All right. Next up, we have F1 news. Not a lot on the plate, unless I'm forgetting things, and I could have been forgetting things, so feel free to add on at the end. But first, we actually recorded our episode last week early. And by early, I mean when we are supposed to. And so we did not get to talk about the fact that Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll extended their contracts.
Sure did.
Congratulations. Who really doubted that Lance was not going to extend his contract?
I mean, they had to fill the seats, right?
Yeah. I would like to say a very funny internet meme that I saw. Obviously, part of this whole driver contract thing is where Carlos Sainz is going to go. Was he going to Audi? Is he going to Williams? Did they close the door on him? Is he going to Alpine? Carlos Sainz is actually known for taking about 3 showers a day, 3 to 4 showers a day.
I'm sorry, what?
And so I saw a tweet that said, if Carlos goes to Alpine, I think the thing that will actually be most jarring to the French is his 3 to 4 showers a day.
No, but where do you find the time to shower 4 times a day?
Girl, he's got nothing else to do except for be an F1 driver and shower.
You get up in the morning, you shower.
That man don't cook, that man don't clean. You're acting like that man has to cook, clean, drive himself. Like,
you're right.
That's like, right. Like, oh my God, where do they find all that time to work out? Whenever they want to. They'll do nothing else.
And I'm like, doesn't he have like a wife? Isn't she concerned about him?
He has a girlfriend that people think is a PR girlfriend. So I don't know. I don't know about all that. I don't get involved in the deep waggatry. I don't get involved in the deep wag magics. That's too much for me. I stick to Shade and Kelly Piquet, and I leave myself out of it. I cannot get into the wags. If you want to do wag research, that's your business. I refuse to get into the wags because Felicia, those, not the wags. I mean, sometimes the wags, but the people who keep up with the wags, like genuinely,
they're crazy.
They're crazy. They're insane. I've never seen insaner bitches. I will never forget them writing an open letter about how concerned they are about Leo Leclerc because he's being taken to all these events and this is not the condition a dog should be in, and da 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 da. And I'm like, are y'all okay?
No.
They're unwell. That dog is chilling. That dog is more than chilling. That dog is well taken care of.
Living La Vida Loca.
Okay.
Literally.
If I could switch places with Leo, I would.
I would. Easily.
Okay. That dog is in the lap of luxury.
And in the lap of Charles Leclerc. So, even better. Anyways, in also contract news, and in extremely important contract news, just breaking this morning, Ollie Bierman has signed with Haas Racing. Boop, 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 boop.
Yay,
What
Ollie.
this means, we love Ollie. So super happy to see Ollie. Sad that he's going to be in a Haas, but that's okay.
He might be able to do something with that little thing.
He might. But this means guaranteed one of the drivers on the grid will not be getting a seat this year. Because math. And that's how math works.
Do you think it's going to be Nico or Kevin?
It could be somebody else.
Okay, well, Nico has a seat.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Nico has a seat.
You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Did Kevin confirm with Haas? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think Kevin's locked in with Haas. So
well,
it could
obviously
be
he's not if Ollie's with Haas, right?
I mean, he could still be.
Because Nico has a seat with Audi.
Yeah.
So it could still be Kevin and Ollie. You're doing the thing where you're getting the two blonde Europeans mixed up. I think you're.
I don't think that's the part she's mixing up.
Because if Haas has Ollie and Nico,
they don't have Nico.
They don't have space for Kevin.
Nico.
Nope, they don't have Nico. Nico's at Audi. Nico's going to Audi. Remember?
Okay, that's where I messed up. Okay, that's where I messed up.
She said that.
You're not listening. I am.
Yeah. She said that.
It's okay.
Shut up.
It's okay.
I'm trying. It's early.
It's all right. It is very early.
Shut up, Beks. Okay. It is very early.
All is well.
No, so we're talking about Ollie. He signed his new contract.
Yes.
With Haas.
Yes.
Yay for him. I'm actually excited to see some new blood on the grid.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can do something.
Do you think he'll be as demonic as Kevin?
Who?
Do you think he'll be as demonic as Kevin?
No.
No?
Kevin may not be on the grid next year. But no. Ollie's young. He's going to give you Oscar Logan vibes, you know?
I hope he doesn't give Logan vibes. Oh, God.
When I mean Oscar and Logan vibes, I mean more so like low-key, trying to just see where they fit in, you know? versus someone like Kevin. He's been on the grid for years now.
Tis true. Okay.
I am curious who's not going to be in their seat. I have thoughts on who's not going to be in their seat, but we'll see how it plays out. I personally think that there's a chance, not a high one, but a chance, that teams get tired of playing this Carlos Sainz game, where he's like, I'm going to take my time to figure out where I want to race. And they're like, okay, well, we have a short list of people, so we're going to decide when we want to have a driver.
I don't know. I think for me, that it's getting to be so, like, what? We've been doing this for almost 6 months? When did, I forgot the exact number.
Early February.
Early February. Okay, so not quite
February
6 months.
1st, actually, I believe.
So we're 4 months now. People are signing seats. Hell, at this point, Carlos may not even have a seat by then, if he keeps, dragging his feet. People are just going to get tired of him and move on to what...
Because, like, Williams is saying Williams is saying, like, we're basically tired of it.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, there's so many people who could race, and, like, all the teams that he's looking at, it's not like they have great cars.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, no offense, I don't think a great driver is putting that Alpine anyway. So does it actually matter?
No, he should really just
in that Alpine.
He should really just try and guarantee himself a seat, make it do what it do.
Yeah.
Then put in these longer, more drawn out conversations next year. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I was in Carlos's position.
I can't remember which one is giving you a 2026 exit clause. I think it's Alpine. Like, bro, take the 2026 exit clause and then go to anywhere else.
Yeah.
So the reason he's holding out is because he wants a multi-year contract, correct?
He wants a multi-year contract with a 2026 exit clause.
Huh?
See, he wants to be able to race for multiple years.
He wants a 2-year contract.
He wants a 2-year minimum contract with the ability for him to opt out if it looks like the car is going to be shit.
Yeah, in 2026 with the new regulations.
Well, then why didn't he just go to Alpine?
Girl.
Yeah.
No, it's not ideal, but, like, race for a year at Alpine and then get out. Right?
Sure.
What is it? What am I missing?
You're missing the Sainz psyche.
The Sainz psyche? What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. I feel like Carlos, I think he states that certain things that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
A team has offered it to him, but he's like, well, I don't know if you were the team I wanted to offer. I don't know. I just feel like
So right contract, wrong team.
I don't even know if I just think like Carlos has this image in his head of what he wants, and I just don't know if it's feasible anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and so it seems like he should strategize a little better.
He needs to let it go and really just find a seat.
Yeah. Well, I think also part of the problem is it's like you, understandably, after being on a top team for so long, perceive yourself to be this top driver. You're like, I was on Ferrari for years. I was on McLaren. Like, you perceive yourself to be this top driver. So I can imagine it has to be mind-boggling to only be left with back markers with shit cars who want you. So I can imagine that's also causing some sort of, mind fuck. Where it's like, am I really going to be an Alpine driver? A Williams driver? A Stake F1 driver? I can imagine that causing some kind of mind fuck. But I feel like he's also forgetting the mind fuck of not having a fucking seat next to you. That will also
Wait, did Stake offer him?
Stake is Audi, so yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they didn't offer him the exit clause, I don't think. So.
But I mean, okay. Well,
Who knows?
right.
I'm tired of talking about Carlos's contract, TBH. I'm with Bex. I need more movement. I need him to stop with this whole, I just want to concentrate on racing, so I'm going to take my time. Shut the fuck up. Figure it out. Stop talking. No comment, them motherfuckers, about your contract
How
until
about
you're signed.
you skip a shower and think about your contract?
Exactly. You don't even got to skip the shower. Why don't you just make a pro cons list while you're in shower number 3 of the day?
I mean, you know, they have those shower color things. You can even write it on the wall, pros and cons.
Exactly. Put a little whiteboard in your shower and do your pros and cons list. And I'm sure that by the end of day number 2, I'm sure by the end of day number 2, shower number 6, you will have it figured out. Promise you. Promise you. Promise you. All right. Well, my last piece of news, because once again, the news was not popping to the top of my mind when I was thinking of our notes. Discontent in the House of Red Bull. So, for those who may not know, Red Bull was doing basically like a little like showcase of their different cars and stuff, and they generally have like Red Bull affiliated drivers drive those cars like for the showcase. And Jos Verstappen was asked to drive one of the Red Bull cars. I think it would have been like one of Seb's Red Bull cars. It was like one of the like more famous Red Bull cars. And Christian Horner stepped in and intervened to stop Jos Verstappen from driving this car. Which obviously...
Wait, say that one more time?
So Jos
was do what again?
Jos was invited. He wasn't trying.
Yeah.
Jos Verstappen was actually invited by Red Bull to drive one of their showcase cars for like notably, he was invited. He didn't ask to. Like they went up to him like, Jos, we want you to drive this car.
Okay.
Horner stepped in and was like, hey, he can't drive this car. I don't want him to. Right?
Why?
Some people are reporting it as Jos pulling out, but like, I believe it is widely accepted that that's not what happened. Like the Christian was like, no, I don't want him driving this, so he's out. Right?
Wouldn't they have run this decision by him before they even asked Jos?
One would think so. Would think so. You would think that it may have been that they like came to Jos and were like, hey Jos, we really want you to drive this car. Like they, trying to get the details all sorted. And then when it came to the final sign off, Christian was like, fuck that. He absolutely not. Notably, Verstappen of the Jos variety said, in the past few days, I've heard from several sides that Christian Horner did everything he could to not let me drive. And otherwise to make sure that nothing would be filmed. Then I think, say it to my face. It doesn't have to be this way for me. I find it very disappointing. Everybody knows that they beef. Everybody knows that Jos and Christian.
Okay, so what would have been the issue with Jos driving? It's an exhibition car.
The issue is that Christian doesn't like him.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
So there's no actual fucking reason.
I mean, there's like
a reason. He doesn't want Jos being. I'm not gonna lie. Jos is not the best person to represent your company. Your team.
I wouldn't want if it was anybody but Christian Horner.
Yeah.
If it was anybody but Christian Horner saying like no, I would be like, well, obviously because Jos Verstappen should not be the face of any brand. I would not want him in my Legends parade. That implies that he's a legend associated with Red Bull, which is also factually untrue. Jos is not a racing legend, nor did he drive a Red Bull.
Who did Jos drive for?
Who did Jos drive for? Let me check. He drove alongside Michael Schumacher at some point.
So
let's
Schumacher
see.
Was Williams?
He drove all for teams that you do not know.
Felicia. Okay.
All teams that like have gone and like been renamed in some fashion.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Minardi turned into
Red Bull.
the junior team for Red Bull. So
RB.
I guess, technically raced for a team that turned into a Red Bull team at one point.
Okay.
But yeah, Christian and Yas do not like each other. So Yas didn't get to drive for the simple fact that Christian does not like him.
Well,
which, like,
but Yas is like god awful to Max, right?
Yes, he recounts of history suggest that Yas verbally, emotionally, and physically abused Max.
Oh, poor baby.
Allegedly. Please don't sue me, Yas Verstappen. But yes, I am not a big Yas fan. This is like really that thing where it's like the worst person you know makes a great point. And it was both of them. It was the worst people I know making great points about the other. Like, Christian is extremely messy and stupid for bringing all of this drama to the team, and then acting like Yas driving a Legends parade is going to bring more drama than he brought to the team. Like, that's ridiculous. But Christian is right that Yas should not be driving the Legends parade, because why the fuck would you put Yas Verstappen in your Legends parade?
But, okay, all right. So, okay, so what is Christian's deal with Yas the Max situation, or is there something else?
I just don't think he likes how much, like, influence and power Yas has.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, like, if you're a team principal, you're the boss.
Yeah.
If somebody else has borderline, like, unilateral input and influence on your driver and, like, people around him, it's going to impact the way you can do your job. Because you might be having a conversation with some of the team, and then Yas comes in and goes, no, and then that's the end of the thing, you know? Yeah. That's my understanding of the vibe.
How did Yas get so much power in Red Bull?
By having a really talented son.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the end of beginning. He just had a son who's an amazing driver, and he leveraged that for power in Red Bull.
Did he actually gain, like, some type of actual control, or is he just influential in the...
He just has Max's ear. And so...
right, he was the one who said that he would, like, pull Max out of Red Bull or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be noted that Christian denies this situation. You know, Yas said, I'm completely done with Horner. Horner's like, there was no veto from my side. And in a surprising turn of events, Max commented on this whole situation in depth.
Stop, really?
I'm being so for real. I was so shocked when I saw this. So Max says, naturally, of course, it's not nice. I think for myself, not for my dad, not for Christian, not for the team. Of course, you don't want these things to happen. I think my dad has been quite clear about the reason behind it, and of course, I can understand his opinion on that. At the end of the day, he gets asked to drive the car, finds out he's not wanted to drive the car, while my dad, he didn't actually care about driving the car, but he got asked to. And they were like, please do it for the fans, the Dutch fans. Red Bull, we have a great relationship with. It's our home track, so I understand. On the other hand, I'm here to focus on the performance side of things, so I want good vibes with everyone. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say vibes with everyone. But of course, this could have all been avoided. Now, as we mentioned, these bitches have not liked each other for a while. Yas was saying Horner needed to get his ass out there of this team after all of the sexual assault allegations earlier this year. So we'll see. I mean, maybe we won't see any more drama because Yas Verstappen said he is done with Christian Horner.
Well,
but maybe we will see more drama because Yas Verstappen said he's done with Christian Horner.
I wonder who invited him.
Red Bull.
I'm also curious because
who made that choice?
I'm with you.
No. Like the actual person / people who made the decision to say, yes, let's invite, because that decision had to be made before someone called Yas Verstappen and said, come drive this car. I want to know who those people are.
Because it's curious. Like,
because they're messy. Like, whoever asked is messy because you know how they feel about one another. You know Christian would have gotten pissed. So why? Of all the people you could have asked, why?
Yeah, it's questionable for sure.
I'm just curious.
It's curiouser and curiouser.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. All right, baddies. Well, we can get right into the race. This was a sprint weekend, so we got a lot to cover. It was also a messy-ass weekend, so we got a lot to cover. But this weekend, we had the Formula One Qatar Airways Austrian Grand Prix hosted at the Red Bull Ring. Because, yes, Red Bull does own a whole track on this calendar.
It's a really pretty...
it's so cute.
It's beautiful.
It's very good. Love that for them. The track established in 1970. It has 71 laps, 4.32 kilometers in length. I believe it has 3 DRS zones, which I love a track with DRS zones. And the fastest lap was set by Carlos in 2020, and it was 1:05. So very speedy, very speedy. All right. First up, we obviously have sprint quali, because they need to qualify for the sprint. Any initial thoughts from the people when it comes to this sprint quali?
Boring.
I thought it was relatively boring. I thought there were a couple of notable things that happened, but it was very boring.
Because I missed them.
Okay, so I think the most notable thing for me, and then there were a couple other smaller things, is I need Ferrari to get this strategy together before Lewis comes over. How the fuck do you not leave Charles enough time to go set a lap? How the fuck do you let enough time tick down that Charles cannot go set a lap? His last flying lap, like everybody else.
Like, what exactly happened there?
So they, end up it all, he spent too much time in the pits before his final lap. So he did not leave the pits until there was, 1 minute and 10 seconds left. So there was no way he was making it to the line to start his lap.
But there was, it was an engine issue, right? Or a power issue? What was it? He went to the pits for a reason.
Yeah, so, they always go to the pits in between to,
No, but, there was a specific reason he went into the pit and then got stuck, right? Or am I wrong?
So, no, he went into the pits for the normal, let's make sure the car's all good to go for this last lap. Leaves the pits, and he has the engine issue.
Okay.
Where it's they're saying it's anti-stall, and Charles is anti-stall doesn't turn off an engine. Try again, babe. Give me a different reason.
That was when he was being so sarcastic over the radio.
He was thank you for the anti-stall. Yeah, thank you for the anti-stall, but that doesn't fucking turn off an engine. What happened to the engine?
Yes.
We love Charles.
I will say that was funny. I was cracking up with his little French accent.
We had some very funny
the angry Frenchman.
Don't let him hear that. He's not French. He's Monegasque.
Oh, he is. My bad.
Criminal.
Whoops.
But yes. So my understanding is basically the criticism of it was twofold. One, that man was in the garage for an unnecessarily long time, in my opinion, for the engine to not be perfect. And then for the engine to stall out, it's okay, great. So we left ourselves just so close of time that Charles was only sitting still for 8 seconds, I want to say. You left yourself so little time, so little buffer time, that those 8 seconds really killed you. Those 8 seconds really killed you. So Charles got dog walked by Ferrari's mistakes once again. Of course he did.
Damn.
He did get dog walked. Many people got dog walked this weekend. We will come back to that. My only other thing was I'm begging. I don't know what happens to Lewis when he looks up and sees that there is a quali session and not a race. I need it to get together. Why are we going over track limits? Why are we... What are we doing here, man? What are we doing?
He was a little bit frustrated during quali.
He was pissing me off. I was so mad.
Was he oversteering or was it the car? That's what I'm curious about.
I think in this specific case, and as we know, we ride hard for Louis in this home. I do have to say that I actually do think this was a rare case of it being Lewis's fault.
Yeah.
Damn.
I actually think this is Lewis's fault. And
you know what? I actually have a question.
Talked to it too, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, he said it was his fault as well.
Yeah.
I have a question. So the commentators kept saying he's dragging the back. What does that mean?
I think they mean that, like, you don't have the best, like, snap instant control of the car, so you're having to, like, work extra hard to get the car to go where you want to, specifically the rear end of the car.
Cause that's where the engine and everything is. Right? Am I wrong? Someone please tell me if I'm incorrect.
Honestly, great question. I've never cared to look up where specifically in the car.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer to that. I
feel like the power unit's in the back.
The engine is located between the driver and the rear axle, so you are correct.
Okay, good. Thank you, Lord.
Very proud of you.
Yeah, listen, I do look at things sometimes.
Occasionally. Just sometimes. But yeah, I thought Cole was boring. Max ended up on pole. Cool.
Shocker.
Shocker. But yeah. Love that for him.
Good job.
We love that. Moving on to the sprint. The sprint was slightly more interesting. Only slightly though. And it was only made slightly more interesting because Lando Norris has no racecraft. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I do not deny that Lando Norris is a fast driver. I deny that he has racecraft. I deny that he has the smarts part of racing. Example given. In the sprint race, the main bit of action we had was Max v. Lando v. Oscar, right?
Per use.
Max is, his tires aren't doing great. He's not that happy with the way that the things are going. Da-da-da-da. He goes a little bit wide, I believe, and Lando manages to, get alongside him and get up ahead of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you look at Lando's driving, that's where it ends. He gets ahead of Max and then he goes, I've done it. And it's like, Max is still right behind you because that's how passing works. You have to maintain that lead. Like, you have to do stuff to keep him behind you. Because at the literal next turn, he goes wide like Max is not still on his ass. Lets Max through. And not only lets Max through, but is so fixated on the fact that Max is getting by him, he also lets Oscar through. That was my biggest takeaway watching this. I was like, where's the racecraft? Where's the, thinking ahead that you see people like even Carlos have? Even Carlos, who I don't like. I don't think is that great. Even he knows that, you gotta close the door on this shit. You can't just pass him and then it's like, I'm done. I've done everything I need to do to win.
Especially not a driver like Max.
Especially not Max. Because Max will crash you, your mama, and your daddy out. For a while.
Yep.
That's why I love him. But it's just truly tragic. There's a wonderful visual where people are saying that Max is dog walking the McLarens because the McLaren's desperately trying to get by him while he's just cruising in front of them.
Basically.
So that was hilarious. And yeah, that was the big moment of the race. I mean, for me, the race was settled after that. Was Max getting ahead? Oscar got ahead of Lando. I cannot wait until Oscar gets equal treatment and or better tire management skills because I think it's OVAH for Lando after that. I cannot wait. I cannot
because
wait.
Oscar is really good, not gonna lie.
Oscar has his P's and Q's together. I love Oscar.
He really does. I'm I know we always talk about he's so stoic and whatnot, but I'm he's very level-headed and can drive very well.
Yeah. I love Oscar. As we all know, I'm rooting for Oscar. Go Oscar. Hashtag love him.
Yeah.
Bex, anything about the sprint stood out to you? Any good, bad vibes from the sprint?
Overall, I mean, it was kind of settled for me. Once I saw Max on pole, I knew Max was going to win. At least when it came to the sprint, it's also because it was Lando and Oscar behind him.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing. I'm trying to think through things. Anything else that stood out? Not really. Oh, one thing stood out to me. Logan Sargent didn't come last.
Oh my god.
He came like 17th. And I was like, oh.
I like
17th or was it no, he came 17th, I think. I think Albon and Bottas and Giovanni were behind him. So yeah. I was just kind of happy for him. I was like, look at him. He's doing all right.
He's moving up in the world.
Inching up. We can say that.
But yeah, other than that, no, nothing really. It was kind of, again, it was boring to me because no one.
Hulkenberg was after him too, so he was 16. Or did you say that? Did I miss that?
No.
Anyway,
what?
He wasn't messing up the standings, but yeah, it was an all right sprint races. I'm not gonna lie, for me, the sprint races just don't do anything for me. It just makes a more like hectic weekend. Mm-hmm. So
I hate this because I actually like the concept of having a little mini race.
Yeah,
but it's so many that they don't actually have time to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, they have no, it's so many that, like, they don't have time for anything to really pace out. Like, I don't know. I think maybe they would need to make it a half distance and not a third distance so that your tires start to get really fucked up. Maybe.
And so you start to throw in a lot. That is a lot. You're putting a lot on the drivers, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's just a mess.
It's a great concept. They just implementation it still needs some work.
Yeah, for sure.
How long have they been doing sprint races, or have they always had sprint races?
Past 3 years, I want to say.
Oh, so they're fairly new.
They're new, yeah. But other racing series do sprint races, so this is not like a new concept. This is just new for F1.
Yeah. New for F1. Okay, okay.
All right, on to actual quali. Gotta say, baddies, actual quali was also quite boring. Not in, like, a bad way, but just in, like, the natural way that quali can sometimes just pan out exactly how you expect it to.
Was this... I'm trying to think if it was sprint quali or if it was race quali, where Mercedes kept Lewis and George. I'm spacing. Like, I think like they sent Lewis and George to the track really late.
Honestly, I'm not going to cap with you. I think they might have been doing something during quali.
That's the thing. Like, I can only remember certain things like on a regular race week. I can sort of kind of keep track, but when there's sprint and sprint quali, I lose track of everything, and it always kind of meshes into like one big glob of like facts and little snippets in my brain. But anyway, quali, I don't really remember. Oh, I think only thing I remember is Lewis like driving off, and like what did he hit, or was he still? Mercedes got like hit with like a fine or a penalty.
Because yes.
Drove off
so Lewis, so Lewis's side of the garage was being messy boots, literally. And they did not like properly get rid of like the back jack to Lewis's car, and so like they were driving off, and it was very annoying. And it prompted also a lot of conversation online about how like, bro, where's the mindset on Lewis's side of the garage? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is your job. Pull it together. The back jack, like, come on. You might as well have left the fuel line fucking attached. Like,
I know.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is like your whole thing.
So Lewis driving off with the back jack. What is the issue? Wouldn't he just drive off the back jack?
The issue, if you actually watch the clip, like it gets dragged with him a little bit out of the garage. So it's a safety hazard.
Gotcha.
like, if it were to have not sort of, like, quickly been released.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I guess they probably, like, hook it and then lift, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So if it hadn't been, like, if it hadn't fallen off relatively quickly, it would have hit people probably.
Hit somebody, yeah.
But, yeah, so they got a fine for that.
So did the guy in the front just not communicate with the guy in the back?
That's not even, like, I don't even know how you have the back jack stale. Like,
because someone had to give the signal, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of warning that he's about to leave. You literally have a guy who goes out, checks the pit lane, like, signals to Lewis, and then starts doing the hand motion. We've seen the hot guy from Ferrari do it 1,000,000 times.
Fine.
Like, we know that there's, like, a little bit of wait time where you surely should realize he's about to leave the pits and get him off the back jack.
Like, when you see the guy starting to check the pit, you should be prepared to take it off, right? If not
it should already be off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. But, yeah. He does too much to me. It's too much. I feel like it is notable, but I personally don't care. This was the closest Q1 ever since the start of the Q1, Q2, Q3 system. I think there were I think in Q1 there was only 0.7 of a second between first and 20th. So, we love close racing, I guess. How did that translate? Not a bunch, but we love close racing. We love to see it.
It was alright.
What?
To be honest. I don't know. Let's just go on to the race.
Say it. No, say it. What is it? Say it.
Nothing to say. I was just saying it's alright. Like I think if you just look at this, if you look at the statistics, if you look at the numbers, you'd be like, oh wow, the gap is closing. Like, oh, driver, but it's not.
No, it's very. No, really.
It's just one race, you know. Anyway.
Oh well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess maybe
I mean, it could be a. I don't even remember what the word I was looking for is, but it could be an omen for what's to come. No, all right, y'all just going. All right, fine, never mind. Never mind. I was being hopeful. My bad.
LOL. All right. Well, we all know what we came here for. We all know why we, cared about the Austrian weekend, and that is for the race. I have a couple of points. Obviously, we'll see how this goes. But my first point that I cannot skip: how the fuck is that McLaren front wing legal? They brought up that McLaren had, like, I guess, like, an updated front wing, whatever, and then on the side of it,
it's
was
literally
a fucking
puncture thing. Yes.
And they're like, we wouldn't want to get close to the McLaren front wing so you don't get a puncture. And I'm like, so we're Mario Karting this shit now? Because if we're Mario Karting this shit, put fucking daggers all over Lewis's car and Max's car for all I fucking care. Like, they said that, and everybody I know was like, wait, why is that legal?
They're literally pointing it out too, like, hey, guess what? This is dangerous.
Yeah, like, oh, you don't want to do wheel-to-wheel battle, an inherent part of doing racing with this car. Yep. And it's like, excuse me, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And they were talking about it's good for the aerodynamics and whatnot, and I was like, but
there are lots of things that are good for the aerodynamics that they're not allowed to do.
Exactly.
Like, if we just focused on good for the aerodynamics, these cars would look very different. They would do all kinds of
So how are they allowed to do that? How are they allowed to do that? Because it's very clearly a hazard. It's very clearly dangerous. So has no other team ever done anything like this? And it's just like a first of its kind?
I have no clue. I'm actually bamboozled and I'm so confused. I don't
know jack about jack, but when I saw that, I was like, I don't know how they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I was baffled by it. I literally spent so much of the race being like, so nobody's going to complain about this. Nobody has beef.
Christian probably will soon.
If
he hasn't already.
I gotta say, obviously I don't want Christian Horner on this team. If they fired Christian Horner tomorrow, I'll be ecstatic.
Okay.
He has fallen off his bed. Because the Christian we knew back in the day would have had a letter to the stewards the moment Sky put that shit on the screen. It would have already been written, and the stewards would have had a letter by the middle of the race.
Yeah.
Especially after the way this race ended. You're telling me Christian's not banging down the FIA door to get that front wing called illegal? What the fuck are you talking about? Where is the Christian of old? Like, the only thing people liked about Christian was this bitchery, this indignant, I must win at all costs, even if it means running to the principal on every single little matter. That was the only appealing thing about him. As a Max fan, that was the only appealing thing about Christian. I was like, you know what? If anybody ever fucks with Max, Christian's at the FIA's doorstep 10 seconds later, asking for something to be done. And I loved that about him. And now you're not even doing that? What use are you to anybody?
Yeah, because if he had said something, it would have come out by now, right?
Yeah. It would have been like, we're protesting this wing. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm also surprised Toto hasn't spoken up.
That's what I'm saying.
He's another like whiner.
I'm surprised none of them have.
Well,
like, we have the two bitchiest team principals.
Yeah.
And nothing. No, nothing. This is upsetting to me, personally. Also, what stops then? Like, okay, for example, if I'm Oscar Piastri, right? And we're, at the situation we're going to talk about at the end of the race. What stops me from cooking my fucking tires to get up to George, going wheel to wheel with him and puncturing his tire on purpose, getting the 5-second penalty, I guess, if they decide to give me a penalty for contact, which, like, they're probably not going to, because they don't know that you did that on purpose. And let's say they even give you a 10-second for contact. If you are one of these front cars, you're 10 seconds behind the middle field cars anyway. Like, you're 10 seconds ahead of them anyway. What stops Lando or Oscar from just purposely puncturing everybody else's wheels in wheel-to-wheel combat, quote unquote?
They can. They have the ability to.
It's criminal. It is really criminal.
That's wild.
I don't get it. All right. Obviously, we all know the important thing from this race was Max v. Lando.
I have a question.
Yeah, let's say, let's get into other things before we get into Max v. Lando.
No, okay, so when they were, I think it was it during quality? Regardless. So they were taking that same front wing and putting it on both Lando and Oscar's car. Mm-hmm. So they basically only had one wing from what I could tell. Are they like testing it out on Lando? So Lando had that new wing when the end of the race situation happened.
Yeah.
So are they just testing it, or are they only giving that wing to Lando?
So sometimes it depends. So sometimes they are like truly testing an upgrade to see like what the vibes are. I say truly testing in terms of like they're actually wondering. All upgrades obviously are technically being tested because they haven't been on the car before. Yes. But also oftentimes teams will bring one set of upgrades if they like don't want to commit and splurge for the whole upgrade. So this has happened to Oscar before, where Lando gets the upgrades one weekend and then Oscar gets them 2 weekends later.
Gotcha.
This happens a lot, actually. Notably, that is one of Oscar fans' gripes with McLaren, is they're like, if you started giving him the upgrades at the same time as Lando, bet you he would dog walk him. So, like I said, I can't wait to see that happen because I think it'll be very funny when it does.
Okay. All right. Just curious.
Bex, anything from you before we get into Max v. Lando?
I'm trying to think. No. Esteban and Pierre, their little back and forth was quite funny to me. I don't know why. They were doing a little
whoop-wop, which I thought was...
that was interesting. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Their on-track
Lewis
issues
had a hole
are
in
really
his
funny.
car, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Lewis had a hole in his car. Actually, sorry, yes. Let's get into other beefs briefly. I can't remember. I think Carlos put a hole in Lewis's car, if I'm remembering correctly. Oscar hit Charles and fucked up his race.
Yep.
The boys were getting scrappy. They were getting scrappy, and all of their scrappiness got overshadowed by the clusterfuck that was the last part of this race. Insanity. I don't know what was in the water, but they were putting in work to create drama at the Austrian Grand Prix.
They were. I enjoyed the Alpine's wheel-to-wheel moments. I found that very interesting.
Okay. Good. I love that. For you. Sorry, I got zoned out for a second. I was trying to remember what you said. But no, I love whenever Alpine goes wheel-to-wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're both messy boots boys. They're both a little crazy and funky.
They are the actual Frenchmen, not Charles.
Yeah. All right. We can start to get into it. We can start to get into Max v. Lando.
Jesus Christ.
And I do want to say, as a representative of the Max fandom, as a Max fangirl, I don't care what Max did. Crimes cannot be committed against the McLaren, so he's done nothing wrong. In my humble opinion, you cannot commit crimes against the McLaren. You just can't.
Oh, I have a question about that situation. Why did Max get the penalty and not Lando?
We will walk through that. So, listeners, just on the off chance that you didn't see the race, a quick walkthrough of what was going down. Max is in the lead. Lando is behind him. They're exchanging a whole bunch of like back and forth where Max is like, Lando's right up behind him and then he's far back and then all this stuff. They both go into the pits. And this is where things start to really tighten up because Red Bull fucks Max with their pit stop.
Because they took like 8 seconds.
Yeah. So they fuck Max with their pit stop. And so they bring down what Max had, which was like an 8-second lead. Comfy, cool. Down to like a 2-second lead.
Yep.
Not comfy, not cool. Also in this like back and forth process, Lando Norris has been noted for track limits, which means Lando has a 5-second penalty hanging over his head. So we have Max stressed out because Lando's directly behind him. We have Lando with a 5-second penalty over his head, desperate to get ahead of Max.
Yes.
And so then we start to get into some of the things that occur prior to the incident. Thing number one, claims that Max was moving under braking. What this basically means is that like Max was like darting in front of Lando instead of taking the line while he was braking. Because like the back and forth darting is considered dangerous. And so that was notable thing number one. I believe Lando was also saying that Max was like pushing, that Max pushed him off the track to maintain an advantage. Closer to the end, like Lando had almost passed him and then Max like overtook him off track. I don't really prescribe to that. I feel like it was like they were wheeling. That's I'm not a steward. And then the final thing that happened, which is them going wheel to wheel and actually having contact with each other that resulted in both of them getting punctures.
It was actually really funny. I'm not gonna lie.
It was actually hilarious and iconic until I processed
what happened.
Until I processed what happened. Critically, Max, it was counted as his fault. I think it was counted as his fault because of the way that he technically like squeezed Lando wide. Like I said, in my mind, you can't commit crimes against a McLaren. Wow. So Max did not commit a crime that's prosecutable.
But also,
because he did it against McLaren.
I still feel like McLaren should get in trouble for that wing because that puncture wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I'm not confident on the probability either way, but I agree that they should not be able to have that wing. I also personally, Max said something really funny where, because McLaren was like, he was moving under braking. I believe in like a press conference or something after the fact, Max said like, I wasn't moving under braking because I wasn't braking.
He said the brakes were unnecessary. What are you talking about?
It's like I wasn't braking, so how could I have been moving under braking? My brakes were not on. It's like you are a criminal to society.
He's like, check for the brake lights. They weren't on.
Exactly. I was like, you are a criminal to society. But I just thought that was very funny, the way that all of that played out initially. I do have to say that I went through extreme emotions the entirety of this little segment between the two. Because we go from Max pushing quote unquote overtaking off the track. And then I was like, okay, I don't think he's actually going to get a penalty for that. No worries, all's well. Max didn't give him back the place, so that was good. I was like, okay, good. Red Bull, do not give him back the place. That is not a slam dunk, so don't give him back the place. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah, wait. Question. Mm-hmm. When he was out there hollering, he needs to give me back the place, why exactly would he have, because he was cutting in front of him, or because he left the track?
This is actually a great opportunity to parallel two almost exactly the same incidents. We have what happened with Lewis and Carlos, I believe.
Yes.
Earlier in the race. And then we have what happened with Max and Lando. So in both scenarios, Max and Lewis were quote unquote overtaking off the track or gained an advantage by going off the track because they were slightly behind or equal with the opposing person when they were on going the track. Then they went, and then they got pushed or went off the track, and then were in front of them, which technically counts as gaining an advantage.
Okay.
In most cases, unless literally your driver was behind them, went off track and went around them, you don't give the place back.
Gotcha.
Because unless you are pretty sure the stewards are going to hit you with the penalty, you don't give the place back. In Lewis's case, it was a lap one incident, so Mercedes was very dumb, actually, for forcing Lewis to give the place back. A lot of Lewis conspiracy theorists, myself included, think that because Lewis was hauling ass on George and basically being like, George needs to get the fuck out of my way, that they made Lewis give back the place so they didn't have to deal with that.
Useless.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And in Lando and Max's case, similar thing, but Red Bull was like, we're going to risk it with the fucking penalty because we don't think they're going to give us a penalty for that. It's not slam dunk. Yeah. He was behind him. It was they were both going through a turn. You could just as easily make the argument that Max was pushed and had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So that's
Wait, is that when Max went really, really wide?
Just
or am I thinking of the wrong situation?
No. I'm actually not gonna. I want to piggyback off what you said because.
Who, me?
I just am wondering why it is Lando's fault when we've seen Max do the same thing to other drivers, and it's never been Max's fault.
We will get to Max's history. We will get to that.
Okay.
I'm simply saying. I'm simply saying. I don't give a fuck what Max did.
Okay. Great.
Honey.
And I operate from the basis that it's always going to be Max's fault. So I guess
y'all are demonic.
That's all I'm saying.
I do have a question, actually.
Yes.
So in their little back and forth, at one point, Lando said he's reacting to my moves. Shouldn't he react to Lando?
Okay, so you are allowed to react a little bit. I believe you are allowed to make one directional change in reaction to somebody attempting to, that is going to attempt to pass you. But you're not allowed to, bob and weave in front of them. Because that would be dangerous. This all goes back to what I was saying where Max was where Lando was essentially he's moving under braking. And Max went, can't move under braking if I'm not braking.
That's still hilarious.
Yeah. I think that all comes back to that. We can get into Max's history in a bit because I actually have some data to back it up. But like I was saying, I went through intense emotions because I was so happy, and then Lando also got the noted for track limits. I was like, okay, beautiful, he's gonna get a 5-second penalty, and that will put an end to all of this.
Nope.
And then they punctured each other, and I was like, oh my god, Lando's out of the race. And then I went, fuck, but Max is gonna lose the race. And then I saw who was behind Lando and Max. And I've never felt more betrayed in my life. by Max Verstappen. Because how could you let this happen? How could you let George take this victory? How could you do this? And not only let George take this victory, by letting George take this victory, you gave the Aramco power ratings a chance to suck George's fucking dick again. And you're evil for that. They gave George an 8.8 out of 10 for the race.
Wait, really?
For what? For doing what? Being behind them? Happening to be in third place at the moment they crashed? That, what? I was gobsmacked. I was absolutely baffled. I was like, are you kidding me? That hurt me. That really, really hurt me.
Max let you down.
Max did let me down. I would also like to say, what also let me down is that Max then forced me to listen to George's crack-headed radios. Let me know, one of the only things I like about George is his radios. I think he's very funny. I think when he told Toto to shut the fuck up and let him race was iconic. That was
beautiful.
That was great, because I think Toto was an absolutely insane person for choosing to get on the radio and scream.
You could win this, George! You could win this!
Yeah, like, why the fuck are you screaming in my ear? I know! You don't need to scream in my ear, either. Like, George himself said, like,
he's embarrassed about the fact that he did that, too.
Yeah, he should be embarrassed, because George was like, I almost fucking crashed because you started screaming in my ear. Which I think would have been hilarious. Like, if that had happened, obviously Sorry, Beks, what you say?
No, I was saying it was going to be Pete George if he decided to crash.
I literally was sitting here, I was like, if George crashes, this is going to somehow be the funniest race result I've ever seen in my life. Obviously, crash in terms of, like, shunt it into the wall and be fine. But I would have cried laughing. I would have literally cried laughing.
He would never be able to live down that choke artist reputation.
No.
Ever.
No. Now, the actual criminal parts were, one, I'm tired of this T-pose race celebration. I'm tired of it. I think we need to retire it. And by retire it, I mean I never want to see George win another race again so that we can never have to see it again.
Girl.
And also, I'm sorry. The yabba dabba doo after the race.
Thank you.
That is so embarrassing. Who says yabba dabba doo?
I cannot. I said, what did this man just say?
I was gagged. I was gooped and I was gagged. That really
yabba dabba doo
sent me. It really did send me.
I was cackling in my office. I was watching the race in my office at work, and I was literally cackling out loud when I heard that. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I didn't. I was so gagged. I was like, what? All right, we can now get into Max's comportment on the track. And I would like a moment to plead my case for my client. I would like a moment to plead my case for my client.
No.
Not for your client.
Fine. Beks, would you like to plead your case against my client first?
Yes.
You do that, Beks. You do that.
He's an aggressive driver. He's had incidences with so many people. You can take it back to 2019 with Charles, where he did almost the exact same thing that Lando did to him, quote unquote. You can take it to him and Lewis and literally all of 2021. And I personally just feel like Max Verstappen fans are drinking the Kool-Aid and are like on the verge of just losing their mind in defending him when he's shown like asinine behavior, aggressive behavior from the jump. People have criticized him about it, but when it's on the other foot, it's always like, oh no, how dare this other driver do that? What is he doing? He's so aggressive. Oh my gosh. I'm tired of the hypocrisy. I'm tired. Everybody else has been complaining about this man and making reasonable sense, pointing out facts, pointing out videos, pointing out clips, showing the behavior. I mean, damn, what's his name? Max? No, not Max. Lewis had to be like, he's an asshole. And then everyone was like, oh my gosh, how dare you say it? But Max is an asshole. The way he drives like an ass.
I mean, and yes, Max is an asshole, but
the thing for me with the whole thing with Max is that if Max would just own it I'm an aggressive, and I guess you can say he does it to an extent, but he doesn't own it fully. I'm an aggressive driver. I'm going to do what it takes to win. And if that means I'm just going to do these crazy moves, these borderline dangerous moves on the track, and I'm going to do it. Stand in your craziness, stand in your aggressiveness. Don't try and sugarcoat it and say, "Oh, I want to win." Yeah, they all want to win, but they all want to get home safely. Duh.
Oh, wow.
So personally, me, when it comes to Max, all I have to say is, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you.
Not the golden rule.
All right. Well, now that you've played your case, I'm going to go through a couple points. One, I do not disagree with you on the hypocrisy of F1 fans, because I, as a Max and a Lewis fan, completely agree. You have the same McLaren fans that were defending Max because they wanted Lewis to lose so badly. Now saying that Max is overly aggressive, da-da-da-da. All I'm going to say is, I've been consistent since day one. I like the way Max drives. I think it is very fun for me as a Max fan to watch the way that Max can make you feel like he's going to crash into you and then not actually do it. Now, notably,
Sometimes.
it was brought... No. Notably, it was brought up that Max crashes more than other people. Well, thankfully, for all of us, the people have done the stats on this. Max is middle of the field when it comes to crashes. Point blank. Max is just sitting in the middle of the field. Lando is more crash prone. Lewis is more crash prone. Max is sitting firmly in the middle of the field in terms of crash. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Afsa, what makes you say that? Afsa, what makes you say that?
People went back and watched 5 seasons of races.
But he's also been racing for so much longer than most of the people on that grid.
Girl. They went back through races that both Max and Lewis were in and counted up the incidents.
Are counting the crashes where Max caused Lewis to crash?
No, this is great. This is great, actually, Max. Because when you sort them out via who has incidents they're at fault of,
no, I need to see these sources. I need to see all of the evidence. I do not believe this. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been watching F1 for long. But what I have watched and what I have gone back and seen, I do not agree with that statement. I do not agree with that.
You don't have to agree with it. It's true.
I disagree because I have seen my own 2 eyes. My own 2 eyes. I'll believe my own 2 eyes over anything.
Listen, she's a lawyer. You need evidence. You need sources.
We will go data for data. We'll go toe to toe with our data.
Sure.
Now, I simply want to bring up a couple more things. One,
oh God,
I think that people have to enter into their own bias and perspective that Max makes you feel like he's going to crash into people. Max makes the other drivers feel like he's going to crash into them.
Because he does crash into them.
And then he fucking doesn't. That's the critical part of the driving tactics, that you make people feel like you're going to crash into them, and then you don't. That is why his incident number is actually way lower than you perceive it to be, because you feel like Max is going to crash into your driver. Max has only had like 6 racing incidents in the past 3 or 4 years. Actually, ones that resulted in touching people. But it feels like more because he makes other drivers feel like he's going to crash into them. And I personally, I don't got a problem with that. Make them feel like you're going to crash into them, and they keep going. And you know why I don't have a problem with that? Because one of my favorite racing drivers eras ever was 2011 Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, God.
I implore you to go look at the comportment of 2011 Lewis Hamilton and come back and tell me that Lewis doesn't know Max is an asshole because he was that asshole 10 years ago.
Oh, dear God.
Lewis is an asshole because Lewis was the asshole he's talking about.
I mean, but we know
this before.
We know past Lewis was a dickhead. We know that.
Exactly. So I'm questioning, why are they not allowed to be dickheads on the track? I'm perfectly fine with them being dickheads on the track. I have no issue with them being dickheads on the track. Lewis was a dickhead throughout most of his youth, and I was perfectly fine with that. Rock on, Lewis. Fuck with these bitches. I don't have a problem with that. Okay? Max, fuck with these bitches. I only have a problem with you fucking with bitches when I don't like you. So Lando, get the fuck out of here. Max and Lewis,
okay.
Do whatever you want.
If you can admit that Lewis was a dickhead, I think you kind of have to admit that Max was a dickhead.
I'm saying Max is a dickhead. I'm saying I like him because he's a dickhead.
Okay.
This is on the record. Right. I actually said this on our first ever podcast.
You did. I think you did.
I nor Max denies that he is like kind of a psychopath.
So basically what we're saying is whoever is basically leading the season is a dickhead.
99% of the time, the top drivers of a season are dickheads. Absolutely, factually. If you actually go back through F1, the comportment of the top drivers is like notoriously absolutely fucking insane.
Got you.
Like, it is not uncommon for them to act what we would consider to be psychopathically on the track. Like, are we forgetting that I think it was Michael Schumacher purposely ran his opponent off the track to win a race, crashed him out on purpose, and then went on to win the race and was like, well, I wanted to win, so I just
crashed him. And he was able to actually claim that win?
Yes, he got a 10-second penalty and then I think won.
Oh.
And it was fine.
Dang.
Like, we're acting like these men don't purposely crash each other off the track all the time and then win championships because of it. Like, Fernando, Michael Schumacher, Senna, Prost, Lewis,
Fernando
Max.
is just evil.
Well, yes, we all acknowledge, and Fernando knows that he's evil as well. But like Senna, Prost, Lewis, Max, Schumi, this is just the way that they are. This is like very common comportment of the drivers. It just so happens that in this particular case, this race, Max went up against a crybaby child. In 2021, Max went up to somebody who gave as good as he got, and we saw how frazzled it made Max. And that was part of the good part, is that Lewis is also a psychopath when he wants to be. That's part of the fun of Max and Lewis. That's also part of the fun of like Max and Charles. What makes them racing fun is that Charles is also a crazy man.
He is a little bit of a lunatic.
We'll run Max off the track and go, I'd rather us both crash. Like, they're both crazy, and that's part of the good part. It's no fun to watch a true F1 psychopath against, like, a baby. Like, that's not fun. The fun part is that the best of the sport are all kind of crazy. And with that,
you rest your case?
I rest my case. And Bex, we'll go data for data. I'll pull it up for you.
Oh, God.
You
know what? We should have a biggest assholes episode and just go through just the what?
Sorry, the computer next to me decided to do weird stuff.
No, my thing is like being a pain. I don't believe your numbers. And so I need to see them with my own eyes. I need to be able to analyze the evidence before I will ever defend or support or not 100% blame Max Verstappen. So I don't think we can really go any further because, you know. But I also have a bone to pick with also Christian Horner. Like, shut up.
Wait, what did Christian do this time?
I mean, it's not just his defense of Max and like
Max, okay.
Like that's another one I think also too. I think the blindness for me is like the annoying part. Like if everyone would just be honest about, you know, their tactics. Yeah, I think maybe if everyone was just completely upfront and honest, I think that's what would make it a little bit easier for me to be like, oh yeah, but everyone's with the BSing and the gaslighting. I don't know. I always hate when people use gaslighting nowadays. But I don't know. I just felt like for this race particular and from what I saw, I felt like it was two bad moves made by both drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, everyone should have just been like, yeah, hands up, I played a part. And the other side should have been like, yeah, hands up, I played a part. And
they
left
never.
And now I'm pointing fingers. And then I just feel like at this point, if everyone points fingers that I'm going to point a finger at who I think is the most at fault, and I'm pointing it at Matt.
See, that's what I'm confused about this statement, because I feel like because you don't like Max, you don't watch Max's interviews, because Max agreed that he should have gotten the penalty, and he was like, I believe them. I haven't watched it yet. I gotta look back at it.
Review, and I don't know if he took full he did not actually take. Maybe it's the one I saw. Maybe I don't know, but I felt as though he wasn't really taking full responsibility, at least of his own actions. Maybe I didn't see. Maybe I didn't see what you're talking about, but I personally, from what I saw, he didn't. Maybe I need to go back and look, and maybe take off my blinders a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
You know what I did like out of this whole situation, though? I like that Max was able to get to the pit and still finish the race in fifth.
That was delightful.
I didn't. If I'm Lando, I'm out with me. There's no way we hit each other. Let's just say that, and I end up not finishing the race. Oh no! If I'm going out, we're all going out. That is a philosophy when it comes to any sport. If you want to hurt me, that's fine. We're all going out together. Don't worry. We're all going out together. If I would land, I would have just taken Max out so quickly.
If we're going to talk about not taking responsibility for any mistakes, Lando said that he had a perfect mistake-free race. I did nothing wrong.
No, he did not.
Nope. I'm disappointed. It was a good race. A mistake-free race from myself. Lando,
shut up.
Sorry, there's another part where he says, I've done nothing wrong.
That's a lie. Yeah. That's a lie.
Yeah, he said, I did nothing wrong.
I'm not involving Lando.
We're going to get into more of Lando's, post-race commentary, because that man was literally just insane. I was actually gobsmacked at the own stupidity that came out of his mouth. But we'll get into that one.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
I mean, I don't really have anything more to add on Lando and Max. I just think that hopefully, actually, I don't have any hopes for them. Never mind. Moving on.
Not their hopeless.
All right. So I would like to talk a little bit about. Sorry, I'd like to talk a little bit about the comportment of Lando and the media and McLaren, because I think
comportment really is your word of the episode.
It really is, because I feel like we're getting a little bit wild. Lando, I already mentioned the fact that he got onto interviews and said that I did absolutely nothing wrong, nothing ever. I made no mistakes. It was a flawless race for myself.
He's demonic for that.
One, factually untrue. You could not overtake Max without breaking track limits. Notably, if you had not crashed out, he would have gotten a track limits violation. That rendered all of this null and void anyway. Wow. So let's just put that on the table. Factually not a faultless race. Oh my god, there's so many names in my head right now. Lando also said that basically, unless Max came and apologized to him, he would lose a lot of respect for him and their friendship would change and da-da-da-da. Bro.
What?
Yeah.
Did he really say
Stop
that?
with the bullshit.
Are you serious?
I'm sorry. Unless Max turned his car and purposely slammed you into the barriers, it's never been that real. I simply don't think it's that serious. I don't think it's ever been that serious.
I missed that, but I cannot believe Lando actually said that.
I was gobsmacked. Then, I think the quote that was the most gobsmacking to me was, Lando basically said, he's already 70 points ahead in the championship. It's not like it matters anyway. In reference to Max not, letting him by. And to that I say,
does matter, but...
stop racing.
Okay.
Drop out of F1. I thought this was a sport. I thought we all agreed that we were engaging in sports. I thought we all agreed we were engaging in sports. As Love Island people like to say, this is Love Island, not Friendship Island. This is F1, not Friendship 1. Are you insane? I believe he later quote-unquote, walked those back. I don't believe in...
Once they're out your mouth, you can't walk it back.
Yeah. So I, simply do not understand the absolute ridiculousness that came out of Lando's mouth. And once again, I think just speaks to his lack of mindset. Because why would that even occur to you? To say, oh, well, Max should have just let me by since he's so far ahead.
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense. You don't have mindset. You don't have a championships mindset. You also don't have basic logic. Max didn't let his own teammate by for 6th place after he won the championship.
Yep.
Why would he let you by for 1st place before he's won the championship? That don't even make no sense.
This is true. This is very true.
That don't even make no sense. And then my last point is that the media and McLaren must crumble. We can cover the McLaren admin first. They posted after everything was settled and done. Max had already been like, I gotta review the footage. You know, I don't want to sit here and say it's not my fault. You know, took the penalty.
Oh, I appreciate him for that.
Yeah, took the penalty. Kept the pushing.
That was real.
Yeah. After that had already been said and done, the McLaren F1 admin posted some video of a Sky Sports person basically breaking down why Max is evil and poor baby Lando was so victimized this race.
Oh, damn.
British bias. And posted that on their F1 account and was like, this race analysis by... And it's like, hey, we squashed this already. We were past this. Why are you reigniting the flames? This is not your job as an F1 admin. I feel like F1 admins have been... Huh?
I don't like the fact that they're letting Lando's whining overshadow Oscar's podium.
That as well. I dislike that as well.
Because, like, you barely see them talking about the fact that Oscar came in 2nd.
Yeah. He did a great job.
Anyway,
it's upsetting for sure. No, you're fine. But like F1 admins, in my opinion, have gotten so focused on engagement farming as if they are like influencers in and of themselves. When it's like, you're not though. Like engagement farming only helps you if like people like the messiness, and people like the messiness to an extent. People like the messiness like towards other F1 admin, you know, but the F1 admin lately like to get messy with like the drivers or the fans. And I'm like, those are two areas you really should reduce mess on. Like be messy towards each other. Not stop leaving your lane. They do too much engagement farming and it's a lot. But yeah, they're getting a lot of flack for basically just like not giving it up. Like, you know, they're doing a lot. And then my last point about the media should crumble, it goes back to that analysis. It goes back to the commentary where it's like, listen, he got the penalty. He took the penalty. The penalty got applied to his race. What more do we want to do? This is the standard penalty for causing a collision. Like, this is the penalty you get for causing a collision. I believe this is the same penalty Lewis got for crashing Max out of Silverstone. Like, that it is what it is. And then doubly, I actually just saw, apparently in the press conferences for Silverstone today, they tried to pull Lewis into this mess and ask Lewis.
And why?
It was insane. Well, because we're back at Silverstone where, like, you know, Lewis and Max had their famous crash in 2021. Sorry, my phone got really hot. Here's the full transcript. So the question was, they asked Lewis, what do you make of what happened in Austria between Lando and Max? And Lewis was like, I didn't really think about it, so nothing. And then the person asked, well, but you've told us in the past that you treat Max differently on the track, so like, what advice can you give Lando about going wheel to wheel with Max? And Lewis was like,
what?
None. Like, we've all been racing each other for years. Like, that's how racing goes. And then he was like, it has nothing to do with me. And it's like, at what point do we just move on? It can't, every day can't. And I say this about most. I'm talking about, like, in general. Why are we still asking Lewis about Silverstone 2021? Why are we still harping on the Max Lando puncture from Austria?
It's been
like all these things that keep getting brought up, and it's like, I love bringing up drama. I love bringing up goss. But aren't we tired?
Clearly they're not. Clearly they're not.
But that was all I had for the race. Baddies, any final closing thoughts? Bex, I know you've had to listen to too much Max Verstappen praise today, so I can give you a little floor if you'd like.
No, I don't explore anymore. I think at this point, I'm just actually ready for a new race weekend to start, just so that I can be done with hearing about all the discord between those two drivers. Yeah, and I'm actually excited about Silverstone. It's 3 drivers home race, so that'll be interesting, even though it's really Lewis's home race. But yeah, other than that, don't really have anything else to add. It's been a very interesting week. It's been a very interesting. A lot of conversations.
It's been
a lot
something
of discourse.
for sure. It has definitely been something, and I just don't even. It's too much. It's too much for me. I'm not interested in all of it. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
All right. So as mentioned, we have Silverstone coming up this weekend. Whoop whoop! Get excited. Ow. We all love a good Silverstone race vibe. Obviously, we are not going to escape any Max Lewis Silverstone situation.
Do you think it's going to rain?
Yes, I do. It looks like it's going to rain all weekend. So that'll be very interesting to see England come out a wet race. I think it'll be very interesting to see how exactly that's all going to go. I would also like to say, sorry, I'm just going through the Verstappen News Twitter page because they would have the most up-to-date quotes from everybody about all of this. And yeah, I will report back to the homies if I find Max's exact quotes. But like I said, Lando walked back all of his tomfoolery immediately today.
Oh, really?
He walked all of it back. He was like, yeah, I actually don't think he needs to apologize. I was just a little bit frustrated.
No,
so, that's why I said that. Max is a champion because he's a hard racer. And I was like, oh, really? Because on Sunday, we're calling him all kinds of names, everything but a child of God. So, you were doing a lot on Sunday.
Lando is a big old baby. That's what it is. He is just a whiny little baby.
He is a whiny little baby. But all right, with that, I do have to say it is the end of the pod. I honestly did not think of an end of the pod question. So my question will not be F1 related at all. And instead it will be, Felicia, where are you in Love Island USA and what are your thoughts so far? Give us the rundown.
I'm at the dance party and Serena, what the fuck? Poor Cordell. But also, what the fuck to Kendall? Miguel, I get it. Who was the other one? There was one more person that switched. The twist.
Leah. Leah twisted on Connor.
Yeah, but we all knew that was going to happen.
Well, yeah.
We all knew. That's the thing. I don't know why Connor stayed his ass there. I don't.
Because Connor is a buffoon.
He's very
dumb. He looked fool. Talking about something. Give me my shirt back.
Literally so dumb.
But also, Rob trying to drown himself was probably the funniest thing I think I've ever seen.
That sounds really crazy, but it wasn't just for the people who don't watch Love Island.
Yeah. Assuming that everybody watches Love Island.
But he was just very emotional and decided to just jump straight down into a pool and hide.
No, so that's what he was trying. He was trying to get a moment alone. Because that's what he said before he jumped in. He's talking about, I just need to be alone.
No, he's just being dramatic. There were a lot of places on land that he could have gone to that didn't require him to just jump into water. But
also him talking about I'm leaving, I'm gone, you got rid of 3 people. And then he stayed there. And then immediately starts talking to Leah.
I maintain that I think that Rob has poor emotional regulation.
Yes.
I think part of that is just due to not exposing himself and practicing feeling those emotions. So then when he's in this environment where he has nothing to do all day but talk about and feel his emotions,
Jesus,
it's like, it's as if he felt anguish for the first time ever. So he's just like, and same thing with like when Andrea got and he's like, I have to go, get off of me. It's like, it's the first time that he's experiencing betrayal or heartbreak ever. And then immediately, as soon as his mind comes back to him, he's like, oh, actually, this isn't that big of a deal.
No shit, Sherlock. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I found that hilarious. What else? Hakeem needed to go. I'm kind of glad he went.
I'm glad I did not feel bad for Hakeem, but I did feel bad a little bit that everybody was cutting up, screaming, cursing over Andrea.
And no one had a word to say about Hakeem. The fact that Aaron even had to go back and be like, sorry, man, I just...
Yeah.
What else? Let me see. First off, also, Rob going and laying on the ground. That man needs assistance. He needs some kind of help. And then also Leah lying about her part in sending Andrea home. I don't like that either.
I found
but
it
also
so
Leah's a nutcase. Leah is a nut.
She downplayed it a little bit, but I also think that everyone, Ella Kaler, downplayed her part as well. I feel like she didn't lie. She just downplayed it.
I agree that she didn't lie. She just downplayed it. I think that, once again, a lot of people want Leah to be a mastermind.
She's not.
She's not. She's kind of just dumb and, like, doesn't think before she does things. And it's like, for example, right? You all voted. Like, the decision to send somebody home was actually based on a vote. And so saying you had a back seat would imply that all of you were in the back seat because you voted. In actuality, there were no like seats in this conversation. You all equally voted. Like, it is what it is. Like, no,
but then
were not campaigning.
not Leah. What is her name? The
Liv?
one. Liv being like, what did Liv say? What did she say?
To Leah?
Shoot, about Leah to Rob.
Just a lot. There was a lot of things. She brought up the fact that Leah was being weird about Janae to Connor and, like, lies all the time. I think was essentially her assessment, was that Leah's a liar. Which I agree. I think Leah falls into the situation where she does not think about what comes out of her mouth.
No.
And therefore, like, yes, she literally is lying because she's contradicting herself. But she's not doing, like, Rob's version of lies, where Rob walks up to you knowing he's gonna lie to you.
Yes.
Like, she is doing the version of lies where it's like, I lied because I don't remember what I said earlier because I don't put any stock in my own actions.
Yeah.
That is more so like the version of lying that Leah does, which I personally find equally as annoying as Rob's version of lying. Me personally, like, as a viewer. Like, I would, as a viewer, I almost would rather Rob's version where he is, like, maliciously lying to people than Leah's version where, like, she's lying to people by virtue of not, like, thinking ever about what she's doing.
She wants the person in front of her to think that she's with them or whatever, like, on their side. Like, she is, it's based on the situation that she's in. She'll lie to make it more comfortable for not just herself, but for everyone around her too. Yeah.
Backseat was poor choice of words.
It was a terrible choice of words.
What she should have said is, I wasn't campaigning for Andrea to get out. That's true. Because you were not campaigning. You didn't sit down and go, it needs to be her. You gave a reason why it should be.
I remembered what Liv said. Liv was saying, we would have made a different decision had Leah not been gunning for Andrea, which I think was a lie. I don't find that true.
That was... Okay, well, one, I think the only person that can say that is Liv, because if you look at their fingers, she's the only person who didn't vote for Andrea. So, if anybody can say that, it is Liv, because Liv straight up did not vote for Andrea, did not want Andrea to go home.
Yeah.
Straight up. So, if anybody can say that, it's Liv. I do agree that from the footage we saw, Leah was not gunning. We did see that Leah was the one that brought up the reason why Andrea got sent home. Like, when it comes down to the reason why the girls said they sent Andrea home, it's the same reasoning that Leah brought up. which was like, from the way that she talks, it seems like she's not here for the right reasons, that she's not willing to explore, right? Yeah. And that ended up being the reason she got sent home. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe they just edited out Leah going in more on that point.
Like, it'll come up in the that playback episode,
movie night,
if Leah's still Leah's still there.
Yeah, it'll come up if she like absolutely went wild in that conversation. We just didn't see it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I need you to watch these Casa Amor episodes. You need to get on that.
I saw a clip and I am mortified.
Yes, Bex, for context, Felicia saw the preview for tonight's episode.
Oh, I haven't seen the preview for tonight's yet.
Girl.
Are you for real?
Oh, yeah. I saw what you said.
Let me tell you something.
I'm disappointed.
Thank you, that part. I'm very disappointed. But after seeing the dance party, it makes a little more sense.
No, it doesn't.
I know it. Okay, so critically, and I think it was like a boring scene, so that's why I think people keep forgetting it. And you will be reminded of it in this next episode, but I'll just remind you anyway. The morning of the dance challenge, Serena and Cordell sit down and we watch them have a conversation where they both go, we are still open to getting to know other people.
Yep.
I also think the dance challenge was purposely vague because I think some people interpreted it as, if I twist, I no longer want to be coupled up with you.
Yep.
And some people interpreted it as, like, if I twist, we're open. All of the couples are open.
Yep.
So, like, and if you listen to Serena's confessionals, it seems that she interpreted it the looser way of like, oh, we twist if we're open.
Yeah.
Me and Cordell said we're open, so we're both twisting.
Yeah.
Well.
That's how I saw it.
Well. Listen. I'm just saying, it's like, the people who chose to stick were just embarrassed. They got embarrassed, not gonna lie, because especially Cordell, he's sitting over there talking about man, I'm not worried. Man, I got this. Man, I'm not worried. I'm fine. And then that door pulled back. I said, poor Cordell. Poor thing. His phone fell out his pocket and everything. Man's over there breakdancing behind this girl. And then got left. I get what y'all are saying about the open, not open, whatever, but
but to be honest with you, for me, Serena definitely, I wouldn't say she were closed off. Before she went to Casa, they had a conversation where she was like, yeah, like, I'm feeling this, like, I do. She didn't quite say like, oh yes, like, it's us, we're closed off, but she kind of gave indication that this was who she wanted to stick with Cordell. And for Cordell to show out in the way that he's showing out and the way it looks like he's going to show out tonight. And yeah, in tonight's episode, I am appalled.
Yes. I think also the critical thing for me especially is like the list of things that happened. Because I think when you really get into like the list of things and the way that things played out, it starts to become much more sympathetic towards Serena and much less sympathetic towards Cordell.
Yeah.
Like, there is this narrative that Serena's been dragging him along. She's been entertaining every connection. She's been playing him. Serena has talked to every bombshell. Mm-hmm. She's had a conversation with every bombshell.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a conversation with every bombshell, immediately goes back to Cordell and was like, yeah, I'm cool with this.
Yeah, this is true.
How is that playing him? Like, yes,
I don't see Serena as playing him.
Forthright and communicative. Maybe she could be more affectionate. But I think after seeing that preview,
we understand her hesitation.
She had fantastic forward-thinking judgment to not do that.
Well,
like, maybe what she was saying earlier, where she was like, "Oh, it just feels like Cordell never wants to disagree with me, and he's just trying to get on my good side all the time, and not like actually talking like we're two people."
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly the way, sorry for the spoiler, that's exactly the way that him and this girl's conversations all go. It's just her being like, you deserve the world. And then him being like, you're pretty. And that's all their conversations are. Like, this is exactly what Serena was saying in the beginning, where it's like, it feels like he's reading from like a script of how to compliment a girl, and not actually discoursing and not actually like getting anything in there.
He's not going in depth.
Yeah. So like I don't feel much sympathy for Cordell. I also just think that Cordell is being very dumb. He's OBJ's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I think is just insane. Odell. Yeah. He's OBJ's brother. And he himself said earlier in the season that he's ghosted like over 1,000 women because it became clear they were just using him to get to his brother.
Sure did.
Cordell, you don't find it strange that this girl has nothing of substance about you to compliment you on?
Nope.
And instead it's just like, you're a king. You deserve better. You're a king. You deserve better. On repeat,
Ew.
basically.
Ew.
She hasn't said anything she likes about you.
Ew.
She's not said, oh, I like that you are smart. I like how playful and kind you are. She hasn't said anything of substance to
At least even like compliment his hair, because he had good hair. I like his hair.
The fro is rocking. He put that
I like it better than the braids.
Yeah,
I like
he
it
put that
better
sympathy
than
fro on, and I had a little bit of sympathy. And then he immediately snatched it up.
Way cuter with his hair out. Way cuter.
Oh yeah.
I did not find him attractive until he took them braids out.
I agree. I don't understand why he's wiling out like this. I mean, I do understand why he's wiling out like this, which is that he is a like 20-somethings-year-old fuckboy who I think is proving Serena right. I think I maybe tweeted this earlier, but like at the end of the day, by doing what we are presumed he's doing in the preview, for those of you who haven't seen the preview, it appears that we get an overhead shot of Cordell fucking one of the cast of girls. It makes it seem like Serena was right this whole time, and that his version of Serena opening up to him was getting sexual favors from Serena, because the second that a girl opened up to him, he fucked.
Ooh,
like,
not opened up. Not opened up.
Yeah.
Not opened
Open
up, girl. Okay, all right.
That's the vibe. Is that not what it seems like Cordell is now talking about?
He was open, warm, and welcoming.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm very stressed out about it. I'm very scared for 9 p.m.
Now.
I'm very scared. I'm also, so normally they send the girls like a postcard. Last season they sent them an Instagram story to show what the boys have been up to.
Yeah.
I'm so torn on this, because on one hand, I hate to see Serena embarrassed. I am so scared that if Serena comes back to Casa Amor, Cordell comes back and then she hears what Cordell's done, she's going to self-evict, and I really want her to stay on the show. So on one hand, I want her to have advance notice that she doesn't self-evict. On the other hand, I actually think it is much better when the men are forced to face the immediate reaction when the girl finds out. I think that's the one downside of them getting the little postcard thing, is that they have time to process, which obviously is good for them. I want them for their mental health.
Yep.
But for the sake of the actual consequences of your actions, it is significantly worse. And we saw this with Curtis and Amy on
UK.
On UK, where it was the fact that Amy did not have advance warning that Curtis had been wanting to twist made it so Curtis actually had to reckon with the emotions that he put Amy through in the moment, because she experienced them in the moment. He didn't have to deal with Amy once she had processed her sadness and moved on to anger. If they don't send these girls a postcard, Cordell is going to have to tell Serena.
Yep.
Risk one of the other girls telling Serena in the event that he doesn't bring Daya back. Because let the record show, I think there's a decent chance he does not bring Daya back anyway.
Her name's Daya.
I think her name's Daya. I think there's a decent chance he does not bring her back.
Because I heard that Lady Serena is very much distraught that her man is no longer there and misses him. Is this correct?
She was crying on the
phone. Oh, dear God. Oh,
her and
Serena.
Taylor
Stand up.
Literally stand up, actually. It was very sad. It was very depressing. I don't like it when the men get to use the excuse of well, clearly you're not bothered by it, actually. And it's no, she was bothered when she got the postcard yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I would rather them have to deal with the bother. I'm really scared, though, that these people are snakes and they're not going to tell Serena. Yep. And if Cordell doesn't bring back Daya, he's sure as hell not telling Serena.
Someone else
he might.
One of the boys probably will.
Kendall has to. Like, okay. Also, in my opinion, Kendall has to. Also, in my opinion,
why Kendall?
Well, because Kendall's the one who's always kikiing with the girls. He's the messy gossip one. So if anybody's going to tell her, if Cordell doesn't, it will be Kendall.
Or Aaron.
Or, I don't know. I think Aaron will have enough of his own shit to deal with.
Oh, true. Oh, shit. I saw that too.
Yeah, I think Kendall might tell her. But I also think critically, like, if Kendall is smart and wants to win Love Island, he needs to tell Serena. Because that will immediately take Serena and Cordell out of the running, because Serena will probably self-evict and or just not fuck with Cordell anymore. Yeah. And so I think that'll be very funny.
Not funny. Okay, get out.
Yeah. Well, that's enough rambling. I realize we're almost at a 2-hour pod. Sorry, listeners. But like I said, next week's race is Silverstone. Tune in for that one.
Not the Spanish GP.
Not the Spanish GP. Please do rate, review, subscribe, send it to your friends. Send it to the person that you don't think would fuck around on you in Casa Amor. Ooh. We value loyalty here on this pod.
Absolutely.
And let's hope that me and Bex can come back together with love after this week's GP.
Y'all are foolish.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, listeners. Bye, ladies.
Bye.